And so people really love that there's options and that they're able to go to different things. And maybe they found something they never thought they would go to, and it led to a connection, which led to a relationship, which led to business, right? And so that little newsletter.
Well, I'd even say two people helping each other out.
Yeah. Yeah. Two people helping each other out.
Vibe, your vibe, let it collide. Find your tribe where truth can't hide. So vibe, your vibe.
This is Vibe Your Vibe, conversations with people who follow their passions and do the work because they have to. So I'm Kirk Francis. Today I'm sitting down with Mariel Fry. Mariel is the founder of FM Bookkeeping, where she helps small service-based businesses get clarity around their numbers instead of avoiding them. So her background spans corporate travel, finance, media, including some time working on HBO before stepping out to build her own business around money, curiosity, and real-world experience. So today I'm interested in what it takes to build a service business, run a podcast. So she's got a podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So here we go. And I have as I told you, I got a whole list of questions in case we need help. So where does your story begin? Because I know you have this background in HBO.
Yes. So I worked in corporate for almost 10 years. And the background of it is when I was in college, I needed an internship. With the internship, I was hospitality, travel, and tourism for my associates. And so my dad knew someone who got me in a travel agency. I worked there for about 4 years, and one of the clients was the Weinstein Company, which obviously you know is not really a company anymore. They did Miramax Productions. They did a lot of great shows, a lot of great movies. And working there, dealing with the travel was really interesting. That experience really leveled me up to work at HBO, where I was there for about three and a half years. COVID happened. Nobody was traveling. I kind of knew my writing was on the wall. So I ended up working at BBC. In between, I worked a few other small jobs and companies. And then after BBC Studios, I did a lot of project management, didn't really love it at all. Worked for a video game company, helping with their billing platform and just helping with their systems. And getting laid off made me realize it was the catalyst to the biggest blessing of my life, starting my business.
Okay.
And it was one of those things where my husband and I just moved. Obviously, we needed money, but my husband said, listen, I'll do the bills. You figure out the business. And I gave myself about a year and a half to really see if I can do this. And here I am. I'm going to be in 4 years of business now. So. Wow.
You're going to hit that 5-year, point pretty soon. That's like the stat, right? That's the stat everybody talks about.
Yeah. After 5 years, they say, you may not have your business or it may not be successful, but knock on wood, I am so grateful that my business has worked out the way it has. I built my business in terms of foundation before I had my son. And I was able to still grow my business and kind of be this mompreneur. So that's the podcast I'm looking to launch. I'm launching it in a couple weeks, depending when this comes out. But the podcast name is Raising Hustle. And the goal is kind of raising hell. I want mothers to feel like they can work, but do it on their own damn terms, because I know I've been able to do that. And I want others to feel that they can do that too. I think nowadays with the internet, it's something we've talked about earlier, but there's so much you can learn out there.
100%.
There's so much you can absorb and understand. And if there's something you're interested in, you probably can turn a passion to a profit if you do it right. And so I just want to encourage other moms that there's another avenue. It's not just staying at home and it's not just working full time. There's ways to work part-time. There's ways to run a side hustle, a business, just thinking outside the box. And so I'm really excited to launch that.
That'd be good. You should have Julie on, my assistant.
Yeah, would love to.
Yeah, she wants to be full-time present mother. And so it frustrates me because I know it's horrible, but she works nights, nights. She's in Asia. And she knows I'm she does it because she wants to.
Sure.
She wants to take the kids to school. She wants to pick them up. She wants to be present during the day. And then she works for me at night. Yeah. And and so we have some crossover time. So it's good for me.
Sure.
Because she's still on my daytime hours pretty much.
It is nice. And plus you can funnel work to her and within the next day it'll be done, right? So I think we need to think outside the box of the normal 9 to 5. Unfortunately for women.
Exactly. We actually had a little bit of hiccup today. I usually have the intros and show notes and she prepares them for me and I ended up having to do them myself. So I don't know how good all these are because I'm the one.
That's okay.
I'm the one that did it. But I told her I got this tattoo on my arm. Says good. I'm this is good. I'm the bottleneck. You're sending them to me so that I can print them. Why don't we get she already has access to a computer in my house. It's her computer.
Sure.
I'm like, why don't we just get you a printer? Duh.
Yeah.
And then I got thinking a little further. I go, why don't we get you 2 printers? Because, cardstock, plain paper, or maybe a printer that can handle multiple papers. And I go, as we discussed, we're trying to get this as a business, and this is part of what we're offering. I can't be chasing after this or looking for a file. It's just printed and I don't have to do it. So I think that's kind of what you're talking about, right? It's just, there's ways to do all of this.
Yes.
And make it so that you can be present as a mother with your children. If you have career ambitions, you're going to be able to still do those. It doesn't really work in the traditional 9-to-5 kind of life.
And it never will. It never will. It was, and I don't want to say the patriarchy, right? Because that doesn't sound great. But the reality is when you look, and I read a lot and I follow a lot of different things, but when it comes to hormones, right? A man's hormones cycle every 24 hours. And so you're able to do the same thing time and time again and almost eat the same food time and time again. For women, we have a 28-day cycle because of our periods, right? And so for women, we can't compete with how men are because we're just not built that way. Okay. And it's not saying we can't do it, but physically, mentally, emotionally, we do need that.
You're fighting against the tide.
Very much so. And for women, we need to go with it, not against it. And when we are tired, right, and they talk so much about like the luteal phase, and for every week, of your cycle, you feel different. Some days you feel really high and some days you feel really low. And women really need to follow that cycle, and we need to follow the way we feel more than anything else. And I think a lot of women try to fight to be that alpha or try to do what these men do. And I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm not saying that's impossible. But for women, especially if we want kids and we want to be present and we want to be home, there has to be changes. And it doesn't mean we're not ambitious. It doesn't mean we don't work hard. If you look at statistics, I don't know.
Julie's, I don't know how she does what she does.
You just do.
She just makes it happen.
You just do it. And as moms, we just do everything. It feels like.
Well, you got 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Where mostly men have 1, maybe 1.5.
For women, especially in my world, right, we have obviously being a mother. I have being a business owner. And then I'm also running a house. So you're managing all of these things, right? And I don't lie or BS this, but I hire people, right? Like you can't do anything without hiring people. And when I think women are incredible delegators at the end of the day. And that's why they can run successful businesses, because we can delegate, because we know who the right person is for that spot, right? In a business, of course, listen, I have contractors in my business, and anybody in business will understand that you have to hire the right people to scale and grow. That's obvious. But when it comes to being a mom and, having babysitter help, right? And what does that look like if you're doing babysitting or nannying, or maybe you have to do childcare, or maybe you have to think about cleaners or organizers or meal prep people. There's so much outside the box that you can delegate in your life if you have the financial means to, right?
Of course, but that's the whole point, is like as you grow and become more successful, there's going to be the financial ability to do. I know I attended a business, I don't know what you call it. Sorry, Josh, I'm butchering this for you. Josh Nelson was 7-Figure Agency.
Okay.
Him and his wife run 7-Figure Agency. It's basically an agency to help others, social media marketing agencies. They actually built their own social media marketing agency, so they know what it takes. And so now they go out and help everybody else. And one of the conferences, or intensives, as he calls it, his wife got up there and talked about what you're talking about. They have a house manager. They actually decided to bring tutors in to homeschool because they start, I guess they analyze, they're at a point of success.
Sure.
So granted, it's not for everybody, as you said, but they started looking at, how much time is it taking out of our schedule to follow the standard public school protocol, or we could bring in tutors and do our own homeschooling. And you don't necessarily have to do it the way they did it. The idea is trying to play here is open your mind up to other possibilities, because they could go on a trip somewhere and take their kids, and that's actually educational. I know my mother, as a school teacher, nearly 50 years, maybe it's 50, I forgot how many, it's a lot of years.
Sure.
She would never punish kids. The parents would take them out to do a travel. All she'd ask them to do is bring back a journal and tell me what you did.
It's so different now, though. I think public schools are so strict with so many things, and you really have to be there otherwise. And that's why people are doing homeschool. They want the flexibility. They're thinking outside the box. And that's why for me, you know, it's hard, right? When you're an
Are
entrepreneur.
your children in school age yet, or?
No, my son is 16 months.
Okay. Okay.
Babies. So we're not there yet. But I think the reality is, and I've talked about this because I have friends who are stay-at-home moms, and they love like the mommy and me, like like, you know, kind of like a mommy's morning out, right? And it's from like a 9 to 12. But that's great, right? If you're a stay-at-home mom, you just want a few hours, maybe you just want to go to the grocery store, whatever. But for an entrepreneurial mom, that doesn't work. I don't have a half hour to go drive my kid to go, and then I'm home for because then I have to drive back, right? So let's say it's 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back, that's an hour. Then I'm only home for 2 hours, and then I have to go pick them up in for 30 minutes and come back.
So you're looking at the time factor as well.
It's always a time factor. It's
right.
huge. I need somebody at my house at 9 o'clock so I can take a 9 o'clock call, right? That time is money. Right. And so when you think about that as an entrepreneur, that's everything. And you
it's
have to look
your
at
most, what do you call it? Resource. Lost it.
I'm at a loss myself, but it's time value money.
It's the main resource you have that's the most scarce. You don't have unlimited time.
My time is so limited. I think before a child, you just think, not time is of the essence, but you just think, oh, I have, not like you're on vacation, but you just think time is whatever, right? And I talk a lot about routine. And before a child, my routine was going to the gym. I took my dog on a walk, take a shower, have breakfast, and then my day would run with my business, right? Maybe meetings, happy hours, you know, coffee, talking to clients, just doing whatever I wanted. And I say that loosely, but I was very much on a not as boundary of a schedule. Now that my son's in the picture, it's a very, very different life. And one of the things I did before my business to having my child was I analyzed my calendar, right? I really analyzed my calendar to decide what are my busy days in my business. And that's why every Tuesday I have a babysitter now. It's my deep work day. It's the day for me that I book out meetings ahead of time. I schedule appointments, anything. Now I'm pregnant with my second. So
congratulations.
Thank you. And so with that, I'm going to do 2 days a week of babysitting, right? Because there's no way I can have 2 kids, be at home, and also run a house and my business.
I'm just curious, how does that, I mean, I don't want to get too personal here,
That's
but
okay.
How does that work with like have you been able to identify like with your cycles, like the weeks that, you know, this kind of activity works better versus this week, and I should do this kind of work this week? And like, I don't know, does that not being a woman, I have no idea about any of this.
So that's one part of it, right? One of the things I actually really love, and I would tell anybody to do this, if you don't know human design, I highly recommend you look into human design. It has changed my entire life and perspective on how I look at everything.
Is there like a reference book or something that talks about this?
There's a bunch of books. There's one website that does it for free. I think it's called I'll have to send you a link, but it's like, if you look up human design or like free human design, you essentially type in your date of birth, the time of your birth, the location of your birth, and then obviously your name, etc. And what comes up, and the town of your birth. And what comes up is what you are. So there's like manifesting generator, there's pure generator, there's projector, and there's like 1 or 2 others, but I'm a pure generator through and through. And so with that, what I've done is going into the AI of ChatGPT, one of the things I've asked is, okay, I am a mompreneur. I'm an entrepreneurial mother. I own a bookkeeping business. I have 1 child, and I'm looking to figure out my schedule on a week-to-week basis of what aligns with me.
Right. That's kind of where I was driving at.
Yeah. And so it comes up like the life I'm living now matches exactly to my human design.
And you're just thriving.
And I'm thriving. I'm aligned.
Because you're not fighting. Energized. You're not like, got this big weight on your back and you're trying to push that big ball up the hill.
I'm going with the grain, not against it. And I think that
this really helped you.
I have been so successful being able to do what I do because I'm so aligned. And look, let me be clear. With my business, you have to have hustle and grit and determination. I think for anybody to go into a business and say, I'm just going to manifest and get clients, like it doesn't work like that.
No.
And I don't understand people who think, like, kudos to you if that is how you work, but that is so rare. For anybody starting a business, you have to have some kind of hustle and grit and determination in certain parts of your business. But once you build the foundation, right? Once you have that foundation of referral partners or clients or connections or relationships, then you're just leveling, right? And then you can manifest and build that energy and build a life that you want. And I've been able to align so much of that, and it feels so good. I feel I'm in the best place of my life, and that's why I'm so grateful I'm able to bring in children now. I couldn't imagine bringing in children when I was in corporate. I probably would have left. And a lot of women do leave corporate because they have to make a decision. Is it worth the childcare costs, which are super expensive?
Mm-hmm. And it's not you.
Yeah.
You're putting that onto somebody else.
Yeah. And look, there's people who need daycare, right? And childcare. I'm not saying that that's not something that anybody needs.
Right. You're not dissing on people.
No.
People do what they have to do to live.
100%. But I knew my husband and I, we both morally, look, both of our moms were stay-at-home moms. Both of our dads worked.
Wow,
and so
very traditional.
Very traditional for the both of us. And so my husband really wanted me to be home. And we weren't sure how my business would go. My business grew at a rate that we couldn't even believe that it grew. But then it meant, okay, what does the delegating look like? And I had to decide, do I hire the childcare, so I work, or do I hire the people to work in my business? And I want the people to work in my business. I want them to work and gain skills, right? And one of the things I love to do is hire moms. I want to hire moms who kind of are in the in-between, right? They have kind of kids at 0 to 5. I want them to feel like they're learning a skill. They're working for somebody. Because what I learned, right, perfect example, when I was at a travel agency, you don't care how many hours I worked at the travel agency. You just cared that I worked there and I did the work. But you don't realize. That's
how it is. I mean, honestly, I don't know how many hours Julie works.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But exactly. And I worked part-time.
Everything gets done.
And that's all you care about.
My challenge was I was always the bottleneck. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to remove, every time I look at a situation, like I was talking about these stupid cards, right?
Sure.
Sorry, not stupid cards. I mean, they're important, but.
It's a good reference point.
It's a good reference point. It's like, why am I the one printing them? Why am I allowing myself to interject myself into this? And I guess you probably have a lot of thoughts like that.
Yes.
Like, why am I part of this process?
No,
I just need to pull myself out of it and let them do what they need to do.
Sure. And I think that takes time, right? I think as a business owner, you have to build that trust on your team. And so I really believe hire slow, fire fast. I think you need to hire people really slow, and anything, right? Whether it's cleaners, whether it's babysitters, whether it's, any workers in your business, you have to hire slow. And what I did was I hired people to do a project for me. I wanted to see how they performed. And then another project. And that's what I did with one of my top people on my team. Now she, runs full steam ahead with all of her client work. And I'm able to trust her, and I know that the work will get done. So right. I think you just have to be very strategic in the approach.
I'm very fortunate with my team as well, because I just let them run with it.
Yeah. And
every now and then there has to be a correction. Stuff happens like that.
Always.
But you have to keep an eye on it, and you need, to get updates and things like that. One of the things that I learned, again, have to give kudos to Josh Nelson and his little group, is they really turned me on to this thing called ClickUp.
I've heard of ClickUp.
And it's like a project management tool. And that's just been, because I would get on these, inspirational moments inside of, whether it was, what did we used to use? I think it was Skype or WhatsApp or maybe Signal. And I would just, it'd be one of these, I'm one of those guys, right?
Like a long list.
Well, not just a long list. It's just, look at my son is an essay or two, or a book, a novel of, here's my idea and this is what we should do.
Sure.
And the problem was it's all disjointed, because there was this idea for this, and then there was another idea for this other thing.
That is the entrepreneurial mindset. We always have the idea.
And Hassan, who's kind of the director of operations, and he's just like, dude, I can't, you're giving me a headache. I got to go through it, and he's like, oh, just stop that. And so now I get to do that. I still get to do that.
But it's organized.
But inside of ClickUp, it's inside of the project that I can just sit there and have my little novel or whatever inside of each task.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, I fall off the wagon and I'll go back to my old ways, but I'm trying to stay on that. So,
but I think it's good to have that, right? And so I do kind of two separate things. So my business, of course, I used an app called Double, which is a portal, and that's how we communicate with our clients. We get documents from our clients. And so on the front end, it's a beautiful portal where they're able to look at reports. We do client announcements, and it's really easy to use, and they answer any questions. But on the back end for my team, it's very task management heavy. So they know all the tasks that they have to do. And it just makes it really seamless for them to have the checklist. Likewise, I do on top of everything else, I do kind of another part-time business with a partner of mine. It's called 2 Cents. And the point
I saw that on your LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with 2 Cents, what's really great is we're hopefully trying to grow nationwide. We'll see how it goes. But really, we're city by city. And the goal is to grow a business networking newsletter. I built it out of frustration because I knew as a business owner, I had to network. I had to go out, and I didn't have the cash to do paid advertising or any lead gen or any of this stuff. Mm-hmm. So I had to do bootstrap, in person, going to events, and I had to look at the events. I had to go on Facebook and Eventbrite and Meetup and LinkedIn and all these places and the Chamber of Commerce's or whatever. And it was a lot of work to find them. And I thought, why isn't someone creating like a newsletter every week to find this? And I thought, well, maybe I'll come up with it. So my partner at the time, we branded it under my business, and I would send a newsletter every week. I did it for free, and it grew pretty quick. And people would stop me, people didn't know me as the bookkeeper, right? They just knew me as the networking girl. They're like, oh, you're the networking girl. You're the newsletter girl.
Yeah. I need to get toner for my printer. Where do I go? You know somebody?
Yeah.
Right?
I felt like I was that person
or
for
I need
events.
new business cards.
Yeah. I felt like I was people would even come to me thinking I was a recruiter. And I was like, listen, I'm not a recruiter. I can't help you there, but I know other recruiters, right, that I can connect you with. I was always this connector. And I've always been that way with networking. And so with my partner, we decided to rebrand. We called it 2 cents because we want it to make sense. And so for us, we really grew it to be a subscription model, and we're making it really affordable. Currently, the pricing is $4.99 a month or $50 a year, and you get it every Monday morning in your inbox with all the events in your local area. So currently we are in
that are like networking events.
Business networking events.
Okay, specific.
We really want people to have an agenda when they go, because as a business owner, or right, maybe I have like payroll reps who need to go and meet with small businesses. So it could be a mix of that, but it's really businesses that want to meet other kind of business owners or maybe other potential clients or referral partners in person. I think after COVID, we were really craving that in-person connection more than anything else. I know I was, and
Yeah, I do. I mean, a lot of people want to do this remotely, and I don't know what it is about just sitting across the table from somebody.
It's nice.
It's you can. I don't know what it is.
It's a body language.
Well, it's not because you get the body language somewhat on the monitor.
Sure.
But there's something, we're giving off energy.
Yeah.
We're being able to feed off of each other, I think.
And I love that. And look, sometimes you have to do remote because it's just location.
Yeah, we just got lucky that it happened that we're in town and we can make it work.
No, I love this. I'm super grateful to be here in person. It's amazing. But I think people are really craving in-person connection now more than ever. And to be able to have a newsletter in your local area.
So these are predominantly, or do they do,
So it's a mix.
It's a mix. Okay.
It's a mix. So the way we break out the newsletter is kind of non-recurring and recurring. What do I mean? Non-recurring events are any pop-up events that come up. And recurring events are events that, let's say, happen, every third Thursday of the month. So we break it out that way so people know what to expect on a month-to-month basis, but then also see the pop-up events. And we pull everything. And I think that's the biggest difference of our newsletter. It's not just the chamber talking about their events. It's not just a local group that's just talking about their events. It's every single event that we can find and pull in that area. And so people really love that there's options and that they're able to go to different things, and maybe they found something they never thought they would go to, and it led to a connection, which led to a relationship, which led to business, right? And so that little newsletter.
Well, I'd even say two people helping each other out.
Yeah, two people helping each other out. And I think you have to be wanting to go, right, to these events. And so we're able to put this in kind of a newsletter. And we do it Monday morning strategically because then you're able to figure out your week. As an entrepreneur, your life is crazy. I know mine is. And I don't know what's going to come up. I don't know what's going to happen. But if I can go to something last minute, I'll try to go. Sometimes I try to plan ahead. It really depends.
Best thing I did was hand my calendar and my inbox to Julie.
So that she manages.
She manages it, yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
I have an email. Most people don't have it. I think there's like maybe a dozen people have my actual email. So I have a private email. But so that was really hard. Again, Josh Nelson was the person, because he's like, how much is your time worth? And how much time are you spending going through your emails every day?
The outsourcing is really hard. And
do you manage your inbox too?
I do, but I like some control. So for me, that's what works for me. Like, I like to control the sales. I like to control the onboarding. I like to control the client experience. But then once clients are kind of onboarded and everything is organized and I kind of have things set up, then my team runs with it, right? So I think you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And to your point, when you talk about bottlenecking, I think we have to figure out our why in our business more than anything else, and a why in general in life, right?
Or missing an email. So this way I don't miss emails. Like I get a text message when an important message comes in. Kirk, did you see this? You need to take care of this. I can't,
Yeah, I end up managing my inbox, which is a lot, but I try. Again, it gets addicting as a business owner, right? Because you get a lot of junk. Yeah. It is hard, but you do what you can, and I try to be mindful. Like for me, I try to make Mondays and Fridays not work days, but not working as hard days. And Nice. I try to really be with my son, whether it's taking him to the library or going out or doing an activity. Like I really try to have alone time with him. Not saying I don't throughout the week, but it's hard as a business owner, right? When you're an entrepreneur, your life
businesses are open most days.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, my dentist, he doesn't work Fridays.
I've heard that.
Off.
I've
and
seen
the
that.
orthodontist, he's off Mondays and Fridays. He works Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I mean,
good for them.
I mean, I'm sure he'd probably come in if there was some sort of reason to, unless he's not in town. But yeah, maybe there's a small movement of people saying, is there really a reason for 5-6 days a week?
I don't think there is, and people are happier. You look at England or some of these other countries where they're doing the 4-day work week, or maybe they're doing longer days to get the Friday off, and people have better productivity. They're much happier, and they can just live a better life because they know they have a little bit more time for their family. And so I think when you allow people to give them their time back, they just feel more empowered and they're more excited and they want to work. I look at it like this, right? From a bookkeeping, but kind of life perspective. Money is the foundation to everything. And people can argue this all day long. You need money to live. You need money to buy stuff. You need money for food. I need money to go to the gym. I need money to buy a car. I need money for gas. I need money to pay my bills. I need money for everything, right? But when you have money as the foundation and you're in a comfortable place, then you level up to do the experiences, right? You can give back to your community. You can take care of your family. You can do all of these things. And yes, people argue money doesn't go to the grave with you. I get it. But guess what? If you don't have good things and a goodwill or a trust, that money will go elsewhere. And so you have to protect what you have. And I do feel it's kind of controversial to talk about money. It's a very taboo topic. As a bookkeeper, I talk about it all the time. But more importantly, we need to talk about it in our life. I can't tell you how many women feel, especially, right, they leave corporate America, if that's their standpoint. Then they rely on their husband in a one-income household. And then let's say something happens and they get divorced or a partner dies or whatever it is. Then what do they do about their finances? What do they do about money? And I think we all need to have some kind of financial literacy and empowerment around this.
Oh, wow. Yes. I mean, I have a new client, Dan Huck. Here's your plug, Dan. Dan Huck, founder of danhuck.com and Generation Equipped.
Okay.
His big, it's not a passion. It's back to like my intro I said. He does it because he has to.
Sure.
And he wants to educate 1 million kids on financial literacy.
That's
There's
amazing.
a real gap.
They don't teach it in school. And again, I think that's
well,
why
they're
people
starting to.
Slowly.
I actually had a meeting with one of the school principals here locally. It is part of the curriculum,
Good.
but it's like it's this.
Yes, it's not big.
It's like they put it in just, okay, we put it in there. It's there. There's, they're doing what they can and still cover all the other basics. But I'll never forget Dr. Murray Banks. Probably haven't heard of him. He's no longer with us. He's from like the 50s and 60s. He was a psychologist that was like a comedian. And I'm going to butcher this, but you can find it out on YouTube. But he has this joke where he's like, you go through school and you're learning, what was it? It was some kind of algebra or some kind of math and like combinatorics or something. It wasn't that. And he's like, they want to teach you that, but they don't teach you how to get a good discount.
It's kind of true, though.
And it's true, exactly.
It is true, because my mother taught me a lot about money, right? And because my mom was home, and so her whole thing. So here, and I'll talk about money in a different context in a second, but my mom talked really about saving, right? And it was like going to thrift stores, going to garage sales, using a coupon, and really just saving money. But we really need to look at the trifecta a little bit, where the catalyst is making money. Because if you don't make money, you can't save, spend, or invest. You can't invest money in different kind of accounts, whether it's brokerage, IRA, 529 plans, whatever you're doing. Obviously, you have to spend a little money because you have to eat, you have bills, you have things to pay for. But then you can't save into high yield savings, money market accounts, or anything like emergency accounts, whatever. But you have to make money. And I was only taught to save money because I was never taught to make more money. I was just taught to go to school, go to college, which, by the way, unless you're an accountant, a lawyer, an engineer, anything like that, 5% of what you take out of college goes into the real world. So I questioned college. I questioned corporate America because I thought, why am I asking for permission off? Why am I only getting a 3% raise when I come in and bust my butt? And then when I realized entrepreneurship, that there is no cap. I think a lot of times when you work for someone, there is a cap at some point of what you can make. And then you're bottlenecked to that cap. And then you think you can't go anywhere, you can't make more money. And I've realized I don't want that life. I want the flexibility. I love the virtual side of my business, that I can travel and be places. Yes, I'm always kind of working, but I love what I do and I'm excited about it.
I think I had a guest, Boyd Hoffman, and he put it a really good way. He he said, whatever kind of job or income that you have, you want to make sure that there's a variable component to it. So even if you're in a traditional job, he's in sales. So that's what he said. So he's like, why did he get into sales? Because there's a variable component to it.
Very much.
You know, I produce more, I make more.
Yep.
And that's why he went that direction. So he would suggest, though, if he was here talking to you, he's like, yeah, you have a variable component. You want more, you go get more clients.
Yeah, that's how it works. And you have to sell. And I think, I work with a lot of payroll providers, right? And a lot of sales reps in these like bigger companies like an ADP or Paychex or whatever. I literally tell them, because you know how to sell, you've already won half the battle of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, everybody's a salesman. Who's that? Daniel Pink?
You would think.
Everybody's a salesman.
But some people don't want to sell.
But even if they say his argument would be, even if they're telling you that they don't want to sell, they're trying to sell you right now that they don't want to sell.
It's true, though. It's true.
The kid's trying to sell you that, I can stay up later to watch my show, or I don't need to do my homework. Everybody's learning how to negotiate and sell. I was just going to say, at some point.
You do learn that, but I do think there's some people who have a knack for actually selling a product or selling a service versus just negotiating little things, you know? So I think we're all kind of different in that aspect. But I joke with all these sales reps, like, you could sell, and you can start a business because you know how to sell. And that is truly half the battle. And for me, I was never in sales roles. A lot of the roles I had were coordinator roles. It was kind of a low entry, nothing role. So I joke, went from coordinator to CEO, and it was really just getting laid off and starting a business. But there's nothing wrong with that. I never thought I could be good at it. I was really nervous.
So you're like, do you have BizDev on your team yet, or you are the
I am the biz dev. I am the biz dev. And so I do a lot of the business development myself. And now I'm venturing out to do a little SEO and LinkedIn gen, but I'm year 4 in my business doing this. Prior to that, everything was word of mouth. Everything was referral partners. Everything was low, barrier to entry. I want to pay as little to nothing as possible to get the leads coming in. But I think there is a point in your business, and I would say within 3 to 5 years, you have to start to think, okay, how many leads can I get word of mouth? How many leads can I get from just doing networking? And you get burnt out. I got burnt out from networking, especially having a child. It was like, I can't go out the way I used to. I can't network the way I used to. And it's just challenging. There is a point where you do have to pay for some kind of marketing at some point in your business. It just doesn't need to be day one. Like day one, be scrappy, be cheap. And I say cheap, but like do low cost. Yeah, be very frugal, just do everything that you can on your own. And
so what are the things that you did during your scrappy, frugal times that you felt like you got the biggest bang for, I'm not going to say your buck, but for your time?
Networking.
So networking, meeting face-to-face, the human contact.
When I would say your first year, do spaghetti on the wall. Meet with everybody you possibly can. And that sounds really crazy, right? You're going to meet with people that have no relation to your business, but you never know if that person knows somebody.
That's what I try to tell people all the time, because they'll like, well, what's your podcast about? And why are you having that person on there? And I'm like, because you just don't know. You're 2 degrees away from everybody, right? Pretty much.
And I will tell you that is so true. There has been people who I've met, I've done zero business with them. They sent me a referral, they send me 5 clients. And I'm not joking, that is always how it goes. And I'm very much in the belief of collaboration versus competition.
100%.
And there's plenty of bookkeepers and I'm friends with them. And we all send business back and forth to each other if it's not the right fit. And I look at it.
Wow, I love this.
Yeah, and it's really listening, right? I think when you meet somebody, I come from an approach of I listen. What do you need? Who are you looking for? What connections can I help you with? I don't even think of myself at all. Never did in the beginning of my business. I always felt like, well, how can I help you? And what relationships can I send to you? Or what are you looking for?
Do you have a book? Do you
keep
a book of like, so that was an idea that I had that I feel like I almost should develop. This is a great idea we're having here. And
in real time.
In real time. You'd have like a book. Like you'd have like, maybe it could be full size or whatever. You got a book and you got business card in it. And okay, there's this maybe even a bio and description of what their ideal client profile looks like.
So a lot of people use CRM platforms for that, like a HubSpot, and they're able to kind of identify those people to make the connection. I used to do a lot of that.
To connect people, to make sure, like I'm sure 5, maybe even a dozen bookkeepers, right? But guess what? Their ideal client is probably very different among all of them. Maybe some of them are more focused on a particular industry.
And a bunch of them do niche down. I have one or two that are in the real estate investing space. I have one that's really in healthcare and construction. I have one that, I think she does a lot of like nonprofits and hotels. So they all do different things. And so I'm able to kind of refer and connect and build those relationships just with them alone. And even when I meet with people, right, and you continue to build the relationship, I have somebody who I know and who does solely sales tax. He does sales tax audits. He's based, I believe, in North Carolina, travels back and forth between North Carolina and South Carolina. But that's his whole thing. He's niched down to just doing sales tax and kind of doing found money, where he's able to go back and help clients maybe see that if they overpaid on sales tax, how could they get money back kind of thing. And so every time I see him, it's kind of like, okay, who do you know? Who do I know? Who can we make the introductions? We're always trying to introduce each other. And I've been able to win business from that too. And so you just never know who you're going to meet. So I really think you have to come with kindness.
That's great that you have this. So you basically have a network of bookkeepers that are like your buddies.
Yeah. And we all will not like, I don't know if we can curse on this, but like.
You can curse. It's okay.
Not bitch, right? Like we all are like, oh, this
that's
client.
Not cursing.
Oh, okay. Like we're all just like, like these clients or this process or something on this team. Like we all just get it. And I have a lot of like mom friends who are business owners. And I relate to them the most, right? And it's hard because I love my stay-at-home mom friends. They're amazing, beautiful people. And the job that they do is so hard. It is so hard to be a stay-at-home mom. And I shout out to any stay-at-home moms, by the way, because your job is one of the hardest jobs out there. But it's one of those things where they don't understand business. Likewise, when someone's full-time, they also don't understand how I'm even home with a child all day. Mm-hmm. So I've struggled to find my people in this. And again, kind of going back to the podcast, it's kind of why I'm doing the podcast is I want people who I'm going to interview who are mompreneurs and who can understand and relate to me. So then it gives other people hope of what they could do as possibilities.
Right. So that's your target. You're looking for those women out there that want to be a mom, but then they have this also desire that they like to do something else.
And they want to. And I talk to a lot of moms.
And that's going to fulfill them to do that. Mom fulfills them as well, but they still have a desire to do something. I think it's good to have both.
I think a lot of moms, especially stay-at-home moms, they feel so stuck.
Well, from a father and a wife that we still were like, this can't be real. Our oldest is going to be 30. It's like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
My wife's like, I'm 38.
Of course.
I'm having a 30-year-old. I go, that baby, that's from the prior marriage. You forgot. It's not your child. Anyway, no, it's her child. But I think another part of it that you may not have considered, there is going to come a time when the children aren't at home.
Yes.
And then if you haven't had a plan to fail or fail to plan. If you fail to plan to fail. And so that way, if you have a plan, at least you can be kind of working on towards that day and you'll have something to do.
And that's what I tell a lot of moms as well, or even people thinking about a business. Like just because you don't start a business when your kids are little, it doesn't mean you can't build the education. It doesn't mean you can't work for somebody part-time. And that's actually something I did. And one of the best pieces of advice I can give to somebody, work for somebody part-time in the business you're interested in doing. See if you like it and like dip the toe in, right? And I'm not telling you to like jump full throttle. I'm not telling you to go down the deep end, but dip the toe in and see if you're even interested.
Cost you nothing, right?
Perfect example of this, right? So my husband owns a construction business and he has a guy who essentially it's somebody's son, mid-20s, electrician, very successful. He was thinking about being a GC. So my husband said, why don't you come around with me for a day and see what it's like? By 10 o'clock, he goes, oh my gosh, is the day over? He's like, I can't handle this. This is a lot of work. And it was very stressful, but he got to see it. Because he's getting
pulled in 20 different directions.
100%.
And he's having to plan everything like, okay, where's this at? And we got to get this in because we got to get that guy scheduled. And
it's multiple projects and you're dealing with multiple subcontractors and it's a lot of work and you're really project
the drywall's guy here, but they're still working on getting the insulation installed. And it's like, I'm paying for this guy sitting here because that guy was supposed to be done yesterday, but then the materials didn't show up. And he's like pulling his hair out. Yeah.
It's a nightmare. And he's like, yeah, I don't think this is for me. And he was very polite, came to the house and said, listen, you're a great guy. I love what you're doing, but like, this is not what I want to do. And this is not the direction of my life. But I guess my point is he got to experience that, right? And so I think for anybody who has an interest in doing anything, especially like you want to go in the virtual assistant world or social media or anything like online that you're interested in doing.
Or do podcasts and find out that it's a lot of work to do a podcast.
It is a lot of work. But I do feel like at least if you dip the toe in and see if you have any interest or desire or inkling to do it, then it can propel you to want to really start the business. But it's better to work for somebody and know really early on that you don't want to do it than be like, crap, what am I, like, I'm stuck, or why did I start this?
I thought I wanted to be a doctor, and they had a program in high school that let me shadow all the different medical professions.
Yeah.
You know, nursing, respiratory therapists, x-ray,
That's actually pretty
doctors.
cool.
So for a year, I'm doing this. And at the end of that year, I'm like, thank goodness it was in high school. Like, not doing that.
And that's
they
really
have,
hard.
in my opinion, they have no life.
No, I think you dedicate your whole life to the industry, and I don't, right? You have to and it goes back to your why, like, why do you want to do something, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that has to propel you so far. I think both in personal and business, that why has to propel you. And for me, that's why I'm willing to have my business and work and hire the nannies and hire the babysitters and the cleaners and all of it, because I know this window of little kids is a short time, and I'm embracing it and I love it.
100%.
But I know
embrace
they're going to grow
it.
up. And I know they're going to grow up. And
try to pump the brakes as much as you can and take it all in. Oh my goodness. You know, there's one right. That's the baby, taller than I am.
Yeah.
Right there. That's what happens in 21 years.
Yeah. And no, it's true though.
He's going to be a man.
They're going to grow up, and you know what? I'm embracing it, but at the same time, I still want to take care of myself, and I still want to do things. And it is that balance. And I say balance loosely, but it's finding that rhythm or that flow or that feeling that you feel good.
Back to, what was it again? So, help remind me, the human design. The human design part, right? Am I right? Does that really help you?
That really helped me figure out my life in terms of my personality a little bit, but it also helped me figure out like a good schedule that worked aligned with me, right? And I think you have to think about your business, your lifestyle, and there's so many factors, right? I joke a lot, taxes are like a diet. There's always a general rule of thumb, but when you get into the details, everybody has something different or wrong or unique with their situation. Same with your life, right? Just because I can tell you what I'm doing doesn't mean it's going to work well for your life and what you're doing.
Exactly.
So I think you have to look at your life and decide what works well for you, what excites you, what interests you. Why are you doing this, you know, and what kind of life do you really want for yourself? And that's a really hard conversation, but I've written it out over the years and it's changed. Now it's changed even more with, you know, having a child, and
having two.
Yes, and having two coming up. But I'm able to build a business that allows me to bring more people into the world. And I feel really good about that. And look, you have your hard days. You have your days where you want to scream and cry and punch a wall. And you're just like, ugh, like, what am I doing? Did I make a mistake? But at the end of the day, you know, tomorrow's a new day. You can get up and you can start over. And that's one of my biggest beliefs as well, is this 1%, right? I really believe we can all be 1% better every single day. And when I say 1%, it doesn't mean you need to like run a marathon. It just means maybe you need to take 20 steps.
Right.
Or, you know, I think we live in such a society where it's so fast paced and we're like expecting everything done so quick. And that's just not how life works. It took me 4 years to build my business to get to the place where it is now. Right? I think people have this idea of success. Like, people think you're crazy. I remember telling my family and people about my business, like, you're crazy. Why would you do that? And now I have people knocking on my door wanting to work for me. So it's very interesting when people think you're crazy and then you build something and then people see the success. Nobody sees the behind the scenes. Nobody sees the BS you go through. Nobody sees the heartache, the cries, the blood, the sweat, the tears. Nobody sees the behind the scenes of you having a business. They only either see the failure or success. They don't see the in-between. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to explain that to anybody who's not a business owner. But I compare that to having kids too, right? It's like, it takes time to have a child. Look, I'm been pregnant for 10 months, right? And then you have this child and then you're healing postpartum. And then this baby eventually grows and becomes bigger. They're a little seed and, you know, they become an adult. And that's kind of like business. And that's why with my podcast, I talk so much about the correlation between owning a business and raising a child. There's so many synergies, a lot of differences, but there's also a lot of synergies between the two.
Yeah. I'm just going to take a small break here.
Yeah.
So this is a little sponsor mention talking about businesses. So my wife and I are in the early stages of launching Maya Soap.
Cool.
So Maya Soap's built around the idea of simple, well-made things still matter. We're offering a limited number of complimentary bars to people engaged directly with the conversations on this show. So we'll have the details in the show description. This is literally changing by the day. But I'll tell you this, there'll be an address and there's still limited bars. So I can't I can't promise you that you're going to get one, but if you send me a postcard to the address, you're going to go to the top of the list. So I like getting mail. So if you send me a postcard with your name, address, email, and phone number, we'll do our best to get you that bar.
Love soap.
Yeah, we have a bar for you too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So what was the one thing that you stopped doing?
I just stopped realizing that I'm not superwoman. I've realized like I can't do it all, right? I think as moms, we think we could do it all. We think we could take everything on. We think that, we're superwomen and we can clean and we can cook and we can run a business and take calls and deal with a crazy crying baby. You just can't do it. I need my sleep, right? Like I realize I need to outsource. I need to hire people. I need to let that idea go. And for so many women, we need to let this idea go that like we're doing it all. We're going to get burnt out. I'm part of so many Facebook groups of women who are tired and they ask for help from their partners and they feel like they're naggy. And even my husband sometimes feels that. I love him to death. But I feel like sometimes I'm nervous to ask him for something because he's tired, right? And it's like, well, I'm tired too. And at the end of the day, I've just come to grips with like, I can't do it all. And if I need help, don't be afraid to ask for it. I've just stopped saying like, why am I doing all of this? I stopped apologizing. And for women, we need to stop apologizing.
Let me tell you something. Having a 20-year-old son that's awesome, I didn't really realize how hard my wife worked at home. He does all the grocery shopping now. He does a lot of the cooking. He's a wonderful kid. We've been married 30-something years. Guess who did it before he was doing it?
Yeah.
And worked a job.
Yeah.
And ran the kids around.
Yeah.
And she did all the, I'll do the grocery shopping, but she's like, that's always dangerous to the budget because Kirk doesn't look at prices.
My husband, he doesn't do grocery shopping. He does like steak and beer.
I don't know if I'm steak and beer with. I'll walk down the aisles like, oh, that looks interesting. Let me get one of those. And then there's no plan.
Yeah.
There's not a meal there. There's just a bunch of junk. It's kind of like the steak and beer.
Yeah. It gets like two things. And I'm like, can we make a meal out of this? Like, what are we doing? Yeah. And so,
but to the point, it actually takes mental effort, which I don't know where I read it, but
the mental load is very real.
The mental load, it's a very real thing towards your fatigue, right?
Oh, you're exhausted. Like I could wake up at 4 a.m, right? Like just my daily life. Now it's like I do a 5 a.m. gym class. I come home, quick shower. I'll get my son up and it's feeding him and it's trying to do at least a load of dishes and a load of laundry every day. If I can do one of each of those, I feel like I've accomplished something in terms of the house. And then again, it's just like running with the day, right? And it depends on his nap schedule and if I can get some work done in between a nap. And then I'm playing with him like on a day that I'm home with him and I don't have any help. So you're really just trying to figure it out, right? And meal prepping, you think of it as like, okay, like there's a meal, but you don't realize that you have to write a list. Then you have to go to the grocery store. Then you have to buy the stuff. Now you can do Instacart and other things too. But even then you get Instacart and it still gets delivered to your house. You still have to bring it in your house. You still have to put it away. You still have to prep the food. You still have to cook the food. And then you want to make sure it's all good, right? That takes time. Everything you do takes so much time. And again, time value money. What is worth it for you? Like I know.
Well, and what's your bill rate?
Yeah.
That's another way to look at it. I mean, that's 100%. Where Josh Nelson would come in. He literally has somebody that's in the house managing. Can you imagine this? Think about this. They have somebody, they never have anything in the refrigerator anymore that's expired.
I mean, kudos to them.
Because they got somebody that's taking care of that part of it. They're bringing the Instacart in. They're checking to make sure that, this ketchup bottle's been 3 months expired. Well, let's get a new Josh's house, it probably never gets more than a day expired or maybe, probably approaching a week and it goes out and they get a new bottle. I mean, there's so much that goes on to managing a household that
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't know if you follow Cody Sanchez, but she's all about buying boring businesses. That's her whole MO. Mm-hmm. And she's very successful helping other people buy boring businesses.
Like a laundromat or I don't know. I don't watch her, but I'm thinking like laundromat.
Oh yeah.
Car wash, bookkeeping business.
Think of every boring business imaginable, like a dry cleaner, anything that is very boring that makes money. That's what she talks about. And one of the things she says is,
what was her name again? So we can.
Cody Sanchez.
Cody Sanchez. Great.
She's
is there
amazing.
A title to, is it just Cody Sanchez or does she have a title to her?
She's kind of just personal branding in terms of her. I think she owns the Contrarian training and maybe a couple other things, but everything falls back on her personal brand.
Okay. So we can find her.
So one of the things she talks about is outsourcing, right? If it's $50 like an hour under, don't even think twice about outsourcing, right? Because if your business is doing well and you're making money and you can afford it, if you can afford somebody for $50 an hour or like under that, outsource anything that you don't want to do.
I just had my car washed at a detail place. It was $45. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, well, they put like 5 people on this car. And yeah, they got it done in a half an hour. But how many hours would that take me?
It would take you a long time.
It'd probably take me 2 or 3 hours to do the job. I mean, they went in, they blew everything out, they vacuumed everything.
It probably looks amazing.
They took like brushes and put fancy designs on the carpet mats. I mean, it was amazing what they did. And they wiped it all down.
Look, and I try to do a lot. I think outside the box, even in terms of my life when it comes to just other tasks, right? So like we have a dog, love my dog, but I definitely get frustrated sometimes because I focus on the baby, the dog doesn't get as much attention. But some of the things I've done to try to make things a little better is one, I've hired a mobile groomer to come to the house to wash her and also trim her nails.
So you're not having to drive the dog, and then that adds easily, half an hour to an hour to any kind of task.
Yes, and it's having the dog and the baby in the car, which my husband feels is a big no-no. Not in a bad way, he just gets very nervous. So that means I have to bring somebody into the house, which probably is a little bit more of a premium, but it means I have somebody coming to my house, and that means it's, again, time value money. I don't need to leave my house. I have somebody coming to my house. Likewise, I just actually started with a mobile vet company, and so they're gonna come and administer her shots at the house.
Oh,
I don't need to go out.
Nice.
And so I asked about the price, and it's maybe a little bit more, but they come to my house and they're able to do everything that I would normally do at going to a vet. It saves me babysitting costs, right? Because I would normally have to hire a babysitter. If I couldn't take my son, I'd have to take the dog.
Because
my husband
possibly
works.
going to have to hold the dog, and you can't hold your.
Well, what they do at my vet, they take the dog from the car and they call you and then kind of let you know. They're still kind of on that COVID thing, which is kind of nice. Yeah. But regardless, I'm changing my vet so I can just have a mobile service come.
Right.
And they can just come and they can deal with her, and I can still have my son at home, and I don't need to like shuffle out the door. So I think as moms, we really have to think outside the box when it comes to our life. And that's why, look, I hate to say it, but I use Amazon, right? Like as much as I love to support small business as a small business, sometimes you need the convenience and you need something delivered. And for a lot of moms, Amazon becomes your best friend because you just need something quick or you need something next day. And so having that is just important, same with Instacart. Any of these delivery services are amazing to have something come to your house. The convenience of that is unbelievable. My mom always said when we were kids and she, had to shuffle us to go to a grocery store to get something, and it was like a whole project to get out of the house. Now we don't have to really deal with that anymore. So we have to find ways as moms, and again, even as an entrepreneur, how do we make our lives a little bit easier?
And this is going to be kind of your theme on your new podcast.
And talking about a lot of different things.
And tell us the name of the podcast again.
Raising Hustle.
Raising Hustle.
So I didn't come up with the name. My partner in 2 cents, she's incredible. Her name's Haley Kruth. I'll shout her out. She's Moxie Made. She does a lot of branding and messaging. And so when I was telling her about the podcast concept, we were going back and forth.
So she's a brand. Is that her business?
She's branding? A really brand strategist.
Okay.
And so she helps with messaging. She can do like vision planning. She helps with quarterly social media and like content of what content you should put out every quarter. But she's incredible.
She sounds like somebody I need to connect with my social media marketing.
Yeah, she's amazing. I really just
back to your whole point. Why do I want to cloud and dilute what I do when she's already good at what she does? This goes back to your whole networking kind of thing, right? She's good at what she does. Why do I need to try to bring that into my mix?
I just don't
complicate my process works really good right now. I just need more clients and focus on what I'm doing right now instead of, oh, that's a great idea, Mariel, your partner over there. I should do that for my clients. No, I need to just have her do it for my clients.
And this is what
and
I
then
tell
when
my
she gets
clients
that needs what I do, and I'm guessing this is how you helped. Mm-hmm. What you had the name for that too, like partner referrals? Is that
just like collaboration? Referral partners.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that's huge, right? And so when I was coming up with this name, it's so much about mental stuff. It's also talking about comparisons of entrepreneurship and motherhood, but it's really everything in between. And so I'm not going to hold back. I believe in being really direct and upfront. I can't deal with lip service. Now as a mom, I have not boundaries, but I am very clear on expectations. I am very clear for someone to say yes or no. I don't tolerate maybe. As a business owner or a mom, like if someone wants to work with me and they're giving me maybe, okay, fine. Like I'm not going to chase you.
Reach back when you're ready to start moving forward.
It's yes or no. It's yes or no.
Yeah.
Same with people in my life. People have said, oh, I want to, like, I really want to come down and help and I want to be there. And then when I ask, it's, oh, maybe I can. Maybe doesn't help my situation. If I really need you certain days and you're telling me maybe, that doesn't work. I need a yes or no answer. And as mothers, like, and especially as an entrepreneur on top of it, I don't have time to like mitigate this. It's like, I need yes or no. I need direct responses, and I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. And I think for anyone who is a mom,
it's a good boundary to have.
You have to. And I think for a lot of moms, they're like nervous. You know, we're so nervous to say no. We're so nervous to not please everybody. And you're not going to please everyone. Not everyone's going to like you.
How soon was it that you felt comfortable saying no?
Took me a while. I think as women, we're always people pleasing. We are always trying to get attention.
You think that's
of
just
everybody.
part of the biology or being a mother? Or
I think it's just being a woman.
being a woman.
Whether you're having a kid or not, I think there's always some level of people pleasing. And I think you get to this point where you're tired. Now that as I am a mom, I am tired. I don't really have time to like try to sugarcoat you, right? Like even in my business now, like I'm currently, as we're recording this, in the midst of my busy season. If you want to work with me, it really is a yes or no. Like you're either going to sign my contract and work with me, or it's just not going to happen. I'm not going to chase you all the time. Look, we all chase and we all follow up with clients. That's just how it goes.
Well, it's being responsible business owner.
Yes, it's being a responsible business owner, but there is a point where you kind of give up, right? And there is a point where like, I can only chase you so much before you're just not responsive, and that's fine, you know? And it's nice to give an answer or response if you're not interested in someone or you found it and moved in a different direction. All good, I don't care. I just want to know.
That's where I really like Jim Camp.
Okay.
Have you heard of Jim Camp?
I don't think so.
He's got a book. I think it says Start with No.
I love that.
So you just go into a sales call or whatever, and like, you know, if you don't like what I'm about to present with you, that's fine.
That
just
is
let me know.
literally what I say to people. I'm not kidding you.
That's why you're having success, because you're following the Jim Camp.
It says, right, subconsciously, but this is why, you know, when I go on my calls, right, a couple of things I say is I believe in outsourcing more than anything else. I said, even as a business owner doing bookkeeping, I outsource a lot. I outsource my branding, right? I outsource my website. I outsource like lead gen. I don't do a lot of that stuff because I don't like it. I'm not good at it and I don't want to do it. And so for a lot of my clients who come to me for bookkeeping, they don't like it. They don't want to do it. They're not interested in it. It's not their realm. It's not what they're good at. It's not what makes them happy. And it's
that's
not
your
what brings
perfect
them money.
client. And that's your perfect client.
That is my perfect client. And that's not what's making them money. They have to focus on their zone of genius of what is making them money. Period. Case closed. But the other thing I say, I'm like, look, let's see if we're aligned.
You're giving me lots of good marketing content, or what's the word I want to use, language to put into my marketing.
Yeah. And it's really like, it's like you want to work with me or you don't. I'm not going to try to sell you. I said, this is my pitch. This is what I do. These are the expectations. This is what you're going to get. Yeah, it's yes or no, right? And I don't have hard feelings. And sometimes I have to tell somebody no. I'm like, listen, I might not be the right fit for you, but I have somebody else that is. I had a client recently who I just gained who is so sweet in the kind of baking, food and bev world. And she had a bookkeeper who was very short and rude with her. And to me, I just don't tolerate that behavior. I am very much a communicative kind of person, whether personal or business, right? Like people know that they can come to me and I will give them kind of honest advice coming from a kind place. But even in my business, like women, especially women, are so vulnerable and nervous about money, right? Kind of back to people pleasing and trying to do it all. We're nervous to ask for help. We're nervous to talk about it, especially money. Money is like this fear-basing thing that we're so nervous of, and especially with females. I don't know why males don't seem to be as afraid, and I say that loosely, versus females. But she's like, I'm so nervous. Look at my numbers.
I think a lot of it is that it's people have the idea that it's finite.
Probably.
I think there's a lot of it. I mean, it's obviously finite in my bank account right now.
Yeah.
It's a definite has a number in there, but I don't think they have the mindset that it's, the ability to go out there and make more is always there. That exists.
That is literally what exists. I tell them.
But I can't go out.
Time.
I mean, you can buy money in the sense of what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Outsourcing certain things, you can. I mean, not buy money. I'm sorry. I meant to say buy time.
Yes.
You can buy time in that sense. Mm-hmm. But as far as us personally going out and buying time, we can't buy more time than we got 24 hours a day, just like everybody else. Yep. And how we use it is up to us. And what we can do is we can outsource. And I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and you free up money, right? Well, you free up time. Yes, sorry. You free up your time.
We're confusing the two terms.
No, but you free up time so you can make more money. And that is what I tell every business owner. Like even one of my kind of bookkeeping friends we were talking about how she's like a little strapped with cash and money's a little tight. And I said, listen, the beauty of your situation is you can always make more money. And that is the beauty of being an entrepreneur, is you always can find a way to make more money. Whether it's a different offering, a different service, whatever you're doing, there's always a way to make more money. And that's what I've been able to do, right? And every business is different. I look at a lot of different businesses. I'm not necessarily industry agnostic to one. I have a lot of different industries. I'm more about the relationship. Because for me, my clients know if you're my client, you can call me, you can text me, you can voice note me, you can email me, you have access to my team. Like, you have full access, right? I want anybody to know money is a very sensitive topic, and money is one of those things that people kind of want an answer to right away. Just like health, right? When you're going through like a health crisis, you want the ER, you want a doctor to save your life, right? I'm not saying mine is as much of that, but people want an answer. And so I'm just very sensitive to people in terms of knowing where they're at and just holding their hand and just saying, hey, it's going to be okay. And I'm going to be there for you to the best of my ability based on what you need. You know, I meet people where they're at.
Well, I think what it is I guess what I would say, how I would word that is that you're coming across, and I can pick up on it now, is you come across very confident in what you're able to do and what you're able to deliver.
But that took time.
Oh, it took time.
Yeah, this doesn't happen overnight. Right? I joke Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was my business. I think,
or I guess your confidence.
It took a lot of time. I mean, I had a lot of imposter syndrome in the beginning.
Oh, that's funny.
I remember going to events and
Gary Fry wrote a book. The title is Imposter Syndrome.
It's true. It's such a weird thing because when you're starting a business, right? You kind of have to fake it till you make it a little bit. Like, you kind of need to know what you're saying and doing because you don't want to look dumb. Mm-hmm. But you have to kind of work through that, you know, and look, I had to get my processes better. I had to get some of my billing straight. I had to learn at what I needed to do to get to this point where now I can be in this confident place. But in the beginning, it's like, it's the Wild West starting a business. You don't know what you're doing. That's why first year is truly spaghetti on the wall. Like, try different things, do different things, be very clear on what you're selling and the clarity around it. A lot of business owners will change their mind a lot, right? We're especially entrepreneurs, we're idealists, some of them. And we'll like do an idea and then 3 months later, we're not making money. We're going to something else and we're going to something else. And I think when you jump like that, it doesn't necessarily work. I think you kind of have to stick with something and see within a year, does it work? And if it doesn't work, do we change the strategy? Do we change the approach?
Yeah. As a business owner, I want to say that I have tried that and it hasn't worked. If I'm really honest with myself, though,
sure.
Did I, I think we all as small business owners suffer from obscurity. Mm-hmm. And, did I go to enough networking meetings? Did I do enough speaking engagements? How much did I actually really try to get the new business to come in? And if I was honest with myself, most times when things, a particular offering didn't work out, I'm going to have to be honest and say I probably didn't try that hard.
Look, and I think it depends on what your idea of trying is, right? And it depends on the time you have. It depends on the other obligations you have. I think pre-baby, I used to go to 3 to 4 networking events a week. And on top of that, I was following up with virtual coffees, meetup, happy hours, everything.
So guess what? I wasn't doing that. So I'm going to say, I think I can clearly say I wasn't trying as hard as I could have.
But that's if you want to. And I think a lot of times as a business owner, like for me, I really believe like the fire in the belly. Like, I think it's like, how bad do you want it? And what are you willing to do to make that happen? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, I think, like the idea of owning a business, but they're not really willing to do the work. I think even being a mom to a certain point, right? Like, we all have ideas of what we think our life is going to be with a kid. And then we have a kid and we're like, oh, wait, this is like totally different. Like, what did I get myself into? Mm-hmm. But you learn and you adjust and you adapt and you shift. And I think there's so much of that in motherhood, just like the synergy of entrepreneurship. There's so much you're constantly learning and growing and you're seeing what works, what doesn't. And that worked today, but maybe that doesn't work tomorrow. And you just really have to be open-minded to it. And I tell a lot of my entrepreneurs, like, be open-minded to change, be open-minded to shifting, try different things, do different things.
But do the due diligence to actually give it an honest try and be honest with yourself about what did I do? What could I have done? And the thing is right now, speaking of this will be interesting. I just found this out this week. Are you familiar with the LLM Perplexity?
I've heard of them.
Perplexity.ai. So Perplexity.ai, they have their own browser now. And then they have a thing on there called Spaces. Inside of Spaces, they have a template. And you can click template. And then under, I think it's finance or technology, they'll have why, which is where a lot of startups came out of. And so you should really even take a look at it.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing because it's taking all that data from that startup incubator.
Okay.
where, I mean, companies, I think like Dropbox and Airbnb, and I think
I have heard of this. I have heard of this.
And so it's an AI, but it has this template, and it's been pre-programmed, if you will, with, you know, startup in mind or small business as well. Like, what do you do now? These, I think, are probably geared more towards scale and exit, but it's still probably going to give you a lot. It's given me a lot of good, like a good example, I'll tell you. And this is why we're changing the sponsorship thing. Initially, I just wanted people to send me a postcard, and it's like, that's like way too sticky.
Yeah.
Why don't you give away, you know, I'm giving away a limited number. I haven't put a number to it yet. We don't know. We need to do production and see what we can afford to do and whatnot as far as that goes. But why don't you have people sign up, and you're going to select people to get the free bars. And I'm still doing the postcard. If you send me a postcard, you're going to go to the top of the list.
Sure.
And so now it's not so sticky. You can go online and put your name in the hat. If you want to send me a card and jump to the top, you know, of the line,
but you're
great.
trying it.
And so it was really interesting because it's like, oh, this is so sticky. It's going to be really rare. And I'm like, yeah, but I want people to really want it, you know. But having this conversation with this AI, and they're like, well, I think that's just probably a bit too sticky, you know, for someone to go out and send a letter or a postcard and put a 78-cent stamp on it. And stamps are not cheap these days.
I know.
And do you do everything electronically, or do you do mail too?
I pretty much do everything electronically, but the one thing I do, so if you are my ongoing kind of monthly client, one of the things I do is a client gift. And so I like to give like a physical gift. Might change to gift cards at some point. I haven't decided, but this past year I gave everybody a towel, like a beach towel.
Oh,
and
wow.
So
cool. Is it branded or just a plain towel?
No, I did Vera Bradley. Shout out to like the Vera Bradley outlet.
Oh,
Got a
yeah.
decent deal, but they're beautiful towels. And people loved them. I mean, it was a raving. I had so many of my clients be like, thank you so much. This was so thoughtful. Wrote a handwritten card and put a towel, and then got a little kind of band around it. So I joke my mom's like my chief like gift officer, because my mom is super creative, which I didn't get that gene. But she will help me come up with the gifts. So my first year of business, I did stationery kits where my mom sewed like these little stationery books, and we put cards and a notepad in. So it was thoughtful. We did like a wedding card, a birthday card, a sympathy card, kind of a baby shower card, thank you cards. And people loved it because they're like, wow, it's so nice to have a place to put like my greeting cards.
Right.
So if I want to give a card, or I'm going to an event, or I'm going to a party, at least I have a place for that. And so that was one of the first gifts we did. And then we did the towels. I think next year I won't say it, but we'll do something a little different. But I, mail them because I have clients kind of all over the country. But a lot of my clients, I just hired, again, talk about hiring someone. I hired time, value, money on this. I hired somebody I gave her like $200 and I said, I have all of these gifts. Here's all the addresses. I need you to deliver all of them in person. And she did all of them in a day.
Oh, wow.
So, because I can't do that with a baby, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'll hire somebody else to say, hey, and like I put it all in boxes. I organized like based on the town. I was like, okay, bring these to this same address, bring these to this area of town. And she was able to go around and map it out. I was able to give them a gift, and people loved it. They're like, oh my God, and I was like, yeah, it was like my assistant did it. She brought the gifts, and it was just such a cool way to give gifts to the people that.
And again, it's like that human contact, right?
I really want that.
Even if it's through the mail, I just think I sent out Christmas cards this last year.
Nice.
Did you get yours?
Yes, I did.
So I had people actually feedback. Sometimes people told me my Christmas card was the only one they got.
Wow.
Some people said I got 2. Some got 10. I mean, it was like, I don't think anybody had over 20.
Yeah, people send them and don't.
It's just not something that people do. And the interesting thing is, on the back of my card was I featured a photo of my wife and I at a winery in Bordeaux. The owner of the winery, I sent one to him too.
Oh, nice.
And the owner of the winery took the time to write me a thank you note. I thought that was incredible. And to me, it's just proof that it works.
Yeah.
Now, is he going to hire me or anything? Probably not. It doesn't matter. The point is I got a response out of a very busy person that owns and runs a winery.
But look, it's branding for him too, to a certain point. Like, you're putting that out there and you're talking about the winery, and I'm sure he really anybody appreciates any kind of branding or shout out, right? Mm-hmm. Period. Case closed. Anytime someone can get kind of free marketing, or somebody talking about their business or shouting out their business, I read a lot on social media about this, of even if you can't support a business directly by paying somebody, there's so many ways you can support them for free. Resharing their story, resharing a post, commenting on a post, liking a post, referring them business, right? There's so many ways you can help a small business owner that doesn't mean that you're out of pocket per se, but that you're able to help them out. And so I always think it's just referring, networking, and just helping others.
Do you have any final thoughts to share with people?
Just do the thing you love. And I feel like just be happy. Like there is a point where you have to be happy, right, with yourself. And I think that takes a lot of time, but do the things that you love in life, and know that, like, look, shit might hit the fan some days, and there's going to be really hard days in life, both as a business owner and a mom, whichever way you sway, but you can get through really hard times, you know? And I just really believe, like, there is a point of choosing your hard, but this is all worth it. And I'm just so excited to live a life that I'm excited about. And I hope others listening to this find something that they're excited about too.
So I put it, someone's sitting in a job they feel like they're outgrown. This is my last kind of closing question. What's a question they should ask themselves before making a move? Because I'm thinking that kind of speaks kind of maybe to the potential audience that you're talking. You know, maybe these folks are thinking about maybe motherhood. They're working that corporate job, but they're kind of having some questions. And
I think you really need to think about why you're leaving or why you want to leave. Is it because you have a bad boss? Is it because you have a bad commute? Are you not making enough money? Are you just not enjoying what you do? There's so many factors that you have to think about. And for me, like, look, I got laid off, right? So that choice was
kind
already made.
Easy.
Yeah, it was outside of my control. But if you have control over it, like, really decide why you want to leave something, you know, and really decide what is the propelling reason.
That's really wise. Yeah.
Because if you don't think about that, then you'll put yourself in a situation you might really regret. And for some women, and I think this is really hard, right? Because for a lot of women, you've built this big career. A lot of millennial moms or millennial, you know, people, as I should say, we grew up with this idea of like school, college, job, become this boss babe, be independent, be all these things. But then it's like when we have kids, it's like, well, wait a second, how does this fit? And it's hard because not that it doesn't, but it's challenging. And so I would say to anybody, like, really think about the life you want to live and think of the lifestyle, because I think a lot of it has to do with lifestyle. And so when you're at your job, what do you want out of your life? Do you want to work and make money? Do you want to do it a different way? Do you want to do it on your own? And if you maybe like your job, but you don't like the commute, can you negotiate to work from home a little bit more? Like, how can you make your situation a little bit more plausible and a little bit more just better for yourself? And that's really hard for a lot of women and hard for a lot of businesses too, because some businesses won't budge. But I really think you have to think of your why, and that why has to propel you so far to make that decision. And that's, again, a decision with your partner, a decision with family, decision for your child. And I can't tell you that, but all I can tell you is if you're in a situation and you're really not happy, figure out the why of why you're not happy and figure out a way to either get a new job, maybe start a business, or just think of other alternatives that work well with you and your family.
And if you're a woman, tune into your new podcast.
Yes, and if you're a woman, yes, for Raising Hustle for other ideas too.
So if Mariel's perspective on business or working women or mothers is something that resonated with you, if you want to learn more about it, you can find her at fmbookkeeping.com. And there's links there. I'm sure you'll probably have a link to your podcast, maybe on there or on your LinkedIn. If this conversation was valuable to you, please like, comment, subscribe, and share it with someone who would appreciate it. It really helps the show reach the right people. And yes, I do read the comments. Mariel, thank you so much. Just one final shout out to Maya Soap. So Maya Soap is the sponsor. We're preparing and offering a limited number of complimentary bars to viewers who are engaged directly with the show to participate. You can comment soap, or you can send a note to our mailing address that's going to be in the description. Complimentary bars are offered in limited quantities and subject to availability. My little disclaimer, can't be shipping out 1 million bars of soap. And one last thing I didn't say, this was recorded in person at Studio 1016 here in West Palm Beach, Florida. Amazing. Thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it.
I love this. This is great.